I'm not complaining about immigrants at all. What I'm complaining about is illegal immigrants.
At this point, the only way that I can harbor any sort of respect for a black person is if they prove in some sort of way that they aren't completely obsessed with being black.
Let's talk about the US and immigration, because I am so tired of hearing white Americans say, well, my grandparents came here legally, they did it the right way, when they're trying to make an argument about immigration now.
There's some opinions that I have that you can absolutely cancel me for, or you may just really not like me for. But before you get offended, please remember, I don't care. Good morning.
Do black people really have it worse? Yes, they do. Yes, absolutely they do. And until your neighborhoods are defunded, your culture criminalized, your children demonized, and your people terrorized, yes, black people absolutely have it worse.
See, that's another reason why I'm starting to kind of not like being black, honestly, because we the only group of people that's not doing what everybody else is the fuck doing. Motherfuckers come over here, only hire their own kind and stuff like that, and make sure that their own family is gonna make sure that they get put on. But you know what black people like to do? They get a position finally, and they like to sell the fuck out. Black Americans love to sell the fuck out.
It is so funny how white people like to talk about black people when they try so hard to turn themselves darker. You will never be black, no matter how hard you stay your ass in the sun till your skin start peeling. So don't come at me with that bullshit about black is annoying. What is annoying is seeing your skin peel.
At this point, the only way that I can harbor any sort of respect for a black person is if they prove in some sort of way that they aren't completely obsessed with being black. I've been a grown-ass man for long enough to know that there's absolutely nothing a black person can teach me. I don't care to view history through your black lens. I don't care to be enlightened to your overly skewed, overly warped view of things like slavery, which is really just rooted in your need for an excuse. You know, the whole Anthony Johnson this, transatlantic slave trade that. I don't see what any of that has to do with how you are now. The whole like white people invented racism, it's just like it's so below me. All right, like, because when it comes to what we did invent, all right, we invented the railroad, we invented the internet. We're establishing the foundations of interplanetary travel. Like, I mean, it's just like white people, we have bigger fish to fry than to sit here and listen to how you think slavery is an adequate excuse as to why you can't be trusted with a self-checkout line.
Whenever black people talk about racism, you always have people saying, oh, that's all you guys bring up about, oh, you claim everything's racist, da, 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 da. Nigga, you don't understand how often and how racism infects every single thing of our fucking lives. You have no idea. That's why you hear about it so often. I just seen a video about DoorDashers, difference between being a black DoorDasher or white DoorDasher. I seen people talk about black women pregnancies versus white women pregnancies. Black women die more because of racism. How about y'all stop being fucking racist 24/7? It's literally like that. Do you think black people want to think this way or have this experience? It is literally just that fucking present everywhere.
There's some opinions that I have that you can absolutely cancel me for, or you may just really not like me for. But before you get offended, please remember, I don't care. Good morning, say it back. Also, a lot of you don't like the good morning, say it back. I don't care, because when I don't say it, I get yelled at. I've been saying this since I started TikTok, so yeah, good morning, say it back. I cannot stand people who bring race into things that just did not need to have race brought into it. Yes, a lot of things are about race, but I'm talking about a very, very specific type of situation, like the one that I saw last week, where I saw a video that was about a little girl who was kidnapped, brutally assaulted, and then her life was taken from her. Okay, that is beyond sad. It was so heartbreaking. And no, I don't remember the video. No, I don't remember, you know, whatever. It's because the type of person I am, I see a comment on something or I see something that I don't like, and I'm just like, why? And then I just keep scrolling. Okay, but we're talking about a video with that type of topic, okay? And I open the comments, and the very top comment is a lady saying, okay, but this happens to little black girls and girls of color all the time. So we're just going to completely disregard the victim in the video because it happens to people of other skin colors. Why are we acting like this? Like, the fact that she said that, and then there were people rallying behind her, completely agreeing, like disregarding the victim of the video, just because this was not a person of color, this was a little white girl. We're just gonna completely disregard her and everything that happened because that same awful thing happens to other children. I don't care what color you are, green, purple, yellow, pink, black, white, gray, I don't care. That happening to anybody, a child, an adult, whatever, that is absolutely awful. And I get so tired of people getting away with saying things like that in that type of scenario.
I 1000% agree, even when it happens to people that are just so happen to be black, right? And what I mean by that is for so long and so often, everything has become about race. And there's a whole treasure trove of people that exist in society today to where their entire identity, regardless of what the issue is, oh man, there was a situation that happened over here. Oh man, but it's because they black or it's because they white. It's gotten so bad to where I've started to troll it and make everything about it and just make jokes about it. When I'm on a Millionaire Morning Show and when I review something that's popular culture that don't have nothing to do with race, I start trolling the whole conversation.
Let's talk about the US and immigration, because I am so tired of hearing white Americans say, well, my grandparents came here legally, they did it the right way, when they're trying to make an argument about immigration now. Okay, so first of all, your grandparents' immigration experience is not automatically comparable to the immigration experience of every person coming to the United States today. This is the US literacy crisis in action with that type of thinking. And second, the whole idea that European immigrants simply followed the rules while everyone else was somehow cutting the line ignores what those rules actually look like and who they were designed to exclude. Again, the literacy crisis makes us see things in a vacuum and not the full picture. Yes, European immigrants faced poverty, discrimination, xenophobia, etc., but so did immigrants that were people of color. But the United States did not build an entire federal immigration system specifically designed to exclude Europeans based on their race, like they did for people of color. In fact, the immigration system supported European immigrants immensely more. It can be true that they struggled, but it's also true that in comparison, they did not struggle nearly as horrifically in the same way. And if you want to understand the difference, let's talk about Ellis Island and Angel Island. So Ellis Island opened in New York in 1892, processed millions of predominantly European immigrants with very, very low detention rates, and even if they were detained, it was like 1-2 days max. For most people, the process was relatively quick. Medical inspection, administrative inspection, basic questions about who you were, where you were going, whether you could support yourself. Around 98% were ultimately admitted, 12 million in total, approximately. Now let's go to the other side of the country. Angel Island opened in San Francisco in 1910, and it existed largely in response to a completely different immigration reality. The US had spent decades creating laws specifically designed to restrict Asian immigration, or just any immigration that wasn't European, to be honest. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 was the first major federal law to restrict immigration based explicitly on race and nationality. Chinese laborers were barred from entering the country. Chinese immigrants were denied the ability to naturalize as citizens. Then you had the Page Act, the Gentleman's Agreement restricting Japanese immigration, the Asiatic Barred Zone, and eventually the Immigration Act of 1924, which excluded people who were racially ineligible for citizenship, which was everyone except white people. So when Asian immigrants arrived at Angel Island, they weren't simply going through the same process that your European ancestors were going through at Ellis Island, despite the fact that they were for a portion of the same time. They were often detained, separated from family members, and subjected to incredibly detailed interrogations that were intentionally designed to force exclusion for Asian people, trap them, and find inconsistencies in their stories. Officials asked hyper-specific trick questions about village layouts, ancestral tombs, number of steps or windows in your house, your family, your neighbors, things designed to expose supposed fraud, but really just designed to enforce excluding Asian immigrants and trap them and say it's fraud, which is why Angel Island had such a high rejection rate. And people would spend weeks or months in detention, sometimes even longer. Angel Island immigrants literally carved poems into the walls of the detention barracks describing their despair. This is not the same immigration system as Ellis Island, who basically did none of those things. And this is where the my grandparents did it the right way argument just falls completely apart, and it's just not applicable. Because you're taking your family's experience with a particular immigration system that was designed to benefit y'all at a particular point in American history that was pretty much benefiting y'all, and pretending that system has always existed equally for everyone. It hasn't. That's low literacy and critical thinking rates. And there's another part of this argument that drives me crazy. My grandparents came here legally, so why can't they? Okay, what year did they come? What laws existed? What countries were they from? Were they legally eligible to immigrate? Were they eligible for citizenship? Were they white on paper? Those questions matter. And yes, Italians, Irish, Ashkenazi Jews, Russian Jews, Slavic, and Germanic population always have been white on paper, legally. Doesn't mean they didn't struggle, but in the US, they were always white on paper. You cannot compare immigration across completely different legal systems and then pretend the difference is simply that one group followed the rules and another didn't. That is racism. The rules have always been political, racist, and exclusionary to anyone who is not white. Ellis Island, Angel Island prove that, but the rules have also always changed. And historically, some of those rules were explicitly written to determine who was considered desirable, who was considered assimilable, who was considered worthy of entering the country in the first place. So yeah, your European ancestors may have struggled, they may have experienced discrimination, they may have worked incredibly hard. That is not the point of this video. Their hardship does not erase the racial hierarchy that shaped American immigration law, and the fact that they were invited into and happily accepted whiteness in order to validate Jim Crow laws and systemic racism. And you don't get to invoke your grandparents' immigration story, I don't care how sad it is, every time someone points out that the system was and still is not equally accessible to everyone. That's always been the case. It has always favored white folks. The numbers don't lie. Angel Island only let in 1/12 of the amount of immigrants that Ellis Island did. Because your grandparents didn't do immigration the right way, they navigated the immigration system that was specifically designed for them, that existed specifically for them and their benefit. That is a very different argument.
Do black people really have it worse? Yes, they do. Yes, absolutely, they do. And until your neighborhoods are defunded, your culture criminalized, your children demonized, and your people terrorized, yes, black people absolutely have it worse.
I'm not complaining about immigrants at all. What I'm complaining about is illegal immigrants. If you are legally here, that is not a problem whatsoever. But when we have swarms of people mobbing our border coming in, then that's going to create a problem. And it just makes it totally unfair to everyone who's actually put in work to become a legal citizen. And I'm somehow getting called racist for saying that illegal immigrants shouldn't be allowed to cross a border illegally. How is that racist? And a lot of people are saying, you just hate Mexicans. How is that anything to do with Mexicans? There are countless countries that are coming through that border. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that people want people to come here illegally. You are literally in support of illegal immigration. What sense does that make? We just want to come here and work. Then come here legally. What's the issue? The only reason you couldn't get here legally is if you are like a felon. So I'll say it one more time. I don't care if people come here at all. But I do care if they come here illegally.
Okay, I think I figured out why Harmony and people is calling Black Americans cowards and carrying on because we not out there in the streets. They thought that we had no self-control. That's what they thought. They thought that when we was doing all that stuff like in 2020 and Ferguson and Baltimore and stuff like that and LA riots and stuff like that, it was just because we, they were so easily provoked that as soon as somebody do something to one of us, we don't have any strategy, we don't have any type of thought process. We just go like an attack dog. They thought that we had no self-control, and us deciding to sit out and being all on one accord and being strategic and not reacting is showing a level of self-control that they did not realize that we had. They thought they didn't know about us. They thought that we are messing up their perception of us. They are having a crisis about our identity, about Black Americans' identity. Everybody is. Immigrants are having a crisis about our identity. White folks is having a crisis about our identity. They thought that they could count on us. They thought they knew us. And they never knew us because they didn't know our motivations. They didn't know what we were doing. They just saw the effects and they heard what the media said and they took it and ran with it. So even the people that was like, oh, we support you, this and that, the other thing, they thought that we were, justified, but they also thought we were uncontrollable. Because that's why they'd be like, be peaceful when you go out there. I know you got to go out there, but do it like this. They think they treat us like we're children, like we are feral, unruly children. And now that we are showing them that we knew what we was doing the whole time. But now that we are showing them now, yeah, we're good. You go ahead and do that. They can't handle it. They can't handle it because it's messing up what they thought they knew about Black Americans. This whole year has been a mind fuck for them. Between us sitting out, between us delineating, we're really showing them in real time who we are. But we always knew. You know, what they say, if you don't know, now you know.
I only want to be around people who are pro-Black, pan-African, love, respect, and protect Black people as much as they like Black culture, right? People who love Africans, like Black Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, everybody, you know, Afro-Latinos, like everybody who like really love, respect, protect Black folks, have loyalty and uplift Black folks, and use their voice and their love to interrupt instances of racism and anti-Blackness. I don't want anybody who's complicit in it and think, oh, that's just the way it is, or it's not, nothing's gonna change if I say something, or any of that. And you know, not everybody has the same amount of capacity to speak up against racism, but say I do, or whoever does, the type of folks that amplify that and not try to criticize somebody for being pro-Black. Like, that's the criteria to be around me. You have to actually love Black people, know Black history, support Black folks, and like cherish and respect Black folks.
White people so jealous of Black folks.
No, I'm actually not. And you shouldn't be jealous of white people. But I think you are. And that's why you made this video, isn't it?
We just standing and existing and smiling.
Well, I'm glad you're smiling. It's good to smile. I can smile too.
And you're jealous.
I am not.
It's eating you up.
Eat me up? What?
That's why you're acting like demons. Most part, but it's already in you. For most part, you can't stand to see our beauty.
Okay, I can't speak for all white people, but I can tell you, I have never once looked at a Black person and thought, man, I can't stand that person because they got too much beauty. It's just something I've never made a habit of doing. It'd kind of weird if I did. But I just have to think if a white person made this exact video.
You know what I hate the most? I hate those motherfucking white people who's like complaining about illegal aliens who came along to steal jobs. Like, what the fuck is that? What does it mean? Like, how do you steal a job? You get a gun into a restaurant and say like, hey, give me the fucking dishes. This is my job, motherfucker. Get out of the restaurant. That's fucked up. I mean, and anyways, they don't even give a flying fuck for that kind of job. They even can't do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do this kind of jobs, you know? Like, we're here to work. We are here. We are actually the ones who are making America great again. Actually, we are becoming the most hard workers that you have ever found. This fucking country has been founded by a group of slave owners who told us that all men are created equal, and then they suddenly start kicking people out just because the way you look. That's fucked up, man. And they don't even give a flying fuck about your where you born or something. It's something about racism. It's something about the color of your skin. It's not about it. It's because white criminal Republican bankers want us out because of some financial institutions. They don't want to have us here. That's everything. That's what the whole point about, bro.
It's by this point that I'm discovering something about white Americans. Some of them are really jealous when it comes to issues or matters concerning Black Americans. And they are kind of really complaining a lot. They don't want Black people to be favored in any way. Like, for example, when you talk about things that have been happening in America, be it high taxation, high fuel prices, high cost of living, you know, so Black people have always remained silent in some of these events, and no one is trying to talk about them. And some of the issues, including even the deportation and immigration, issues. Black Americans have always been the one who have always been feeling they are being targeted in that particular manner. And guess what? They have always remained silent. And something about white people, they have always come out in large numbers to complain and say, why are you Black people like not talking about these issues? Why are you just silent? Why are you remaining like this silent? Guys, this video that you have watched just here, there's a lot of complaints when it comes to Black people, and Black people are asking the same question, like, why do you have to hate us in this particular way? Guys, like, white people always complain a lot. Not all of them, some of them, they are mostly complaining. And when it comes to black issues, guys, let me know what you think about this particular video. You think this video brings a complete picture of how white people are really living in America? Or do you think there's something that needs to be addressed in this particular manner? Let me know in the comment section, guys. I'll be happy to read your comments. And this video is for educational purposes, guys. Remember, all these videos that we've just seen belongs to the original creators who deserves credits for making them possible. I'll be ending here, guys. Make sure, guys, you subscribe, like this video, and also let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. Stay tuned. We have another video which is coming on soon. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now. Peace, one love.